Jump right in here. This is how I like to describe Minecraft to a parent who maybe is kind of new to it, okay? It's an iceberg. Typically, when your kids are playing by themselves, they're playing right up here. But it's underneath the water where all the really, really great learning value is in a game like Minecraft. Things like architecture, engineering, logical thinking, game design, even algebra is in Minecraft in various different ways, okay? So, once we understand that Minecraft is an iceberg, the question becomes, how is your kid playing Minecraft? Because I can't tell you what your kids are learning unless I know how they're playing, okay? So, there are 4 main ways that your kids are probably playing Minecraft. The first one is survival mode. The second, I hear a woo, nice. Second one is adventure mode right here. Third one is creative mode down here. And fourth one is multiplayer. Not really a game mode, like, okay, I know, but it's important to talk about it in this conversation. Basically, you can play any of these 3 game modes on multiplayer with other people, okay? So, let's talk a little bit about, actually before I get into this slide too much, I do want to talk about, you should also be thinking about what system are your kids playing Minecraft on, because that is going to have an influence on what they can potentially be learning inside the game. If they're playing on Pocket Edition, I don't mean to, drag Pocket Edition or anything, but it's not as it doesn't have as much educational potential as PC, say, or Mac. I would encourage you to drive your kids toward the computer versions of the game because they have the most functionality and learning potential. So in survival mode, you'll notice down here, we have hearts. This is our health. We have hunger. That's the little chicken wing looking thing right there. If the hunger goes all the way down to 0, the health starts going down. If the health goes all the way down to 0, you die and you have to respawn. And here's the action bar or the inventory, okay? In survival mode, you only have the things that you find and the things that you mine. So you can die, you can only run around, and you find the things that you find, and when you die, you lose all of that stuff. For this reason, survival mode, in a lot of cases for kids, becomes about collecting as much as they can, and then getting really, really mad when they die and lose all that stuff. This is not a constructive way to enjoy yourself. So, my point on survival is, if your kid is playing survival, that's fine. I'm not saying get them off of survival. I'm just saying, through the way you talk to them about how they're playing, try to get them focused not on the stuff they have, but on the experience that they're having as they're playing the game. If you're focused on the experience, trying to have a good experience, you will be diving down deeper on that iceberg, okay? And if you're focused on the experience, you're probably going to get into some redstone engineering, because you're probably going to try and make something cool in your house. You're probably going to start doing some internet research, looking at what other people are doing, and trying to incorporate some of that into your house. There's a lot of different things that you're going to start touching on once you focus survival on the experience, not the stuff. All right, so let's talk about adventure mode. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to mention, my goal here for you parents is to get you guys to be masters of recognizing what mode your kid is playing on just by walking by the computer. You need to be thinking about what modes they're playing on. Anyway, so down here we have our health in adventure mode. Sorry, it's shaking. We have our health just like in survival. We have our hunger just like in survival. And we have our inventory just like in survival. Big difference between adventure mode and survival mode is when you're playing on adventure mode, you can't break blocks unless you have the tool to break those blocks. So we use adventure mode when one person wants to make a map that's designed for other people to play. That's when the person who's playing that map is playing on adventure mode, so they can't destroy the map as they're playing. Make sense? So if your kid is playing on adventure mode, that's terrific. That's really, really great. It means they're encountering stories that other people have put together. They're solving puzzles. They're going online, downloading these maps. Now that last one, I will say, that requires your input a little bit as the parent, because you don't know what websites they're going to. You don't know what content is inside these maps that they're downloading. Remember, it was made by some random person somewhere, okay? So if your kid is playing adventure mode, or if your kid wants to play adventure mode, you need to have a conversation about what is age appropriate, and if you feel like you need to, actually help them find the map and look at the map with them to make sure something is not wrong. So when you're playing in adventure mode, the key here, in order to dive down deeper on the iceberg, is that you have to be focused on being inspired. If your child is playing adventure mode, you should be asking them things at a certain point, like, what kind of adventure map would you make? What elements of this adventure map did you like that you could maybe use in your own? If those are the conversations you're having, that you are playing adventure mode as an inspiration for their own projects. What we're trying to do here is get them away from just being consumers of content and get them to the point where they are creators of content. If they are creating more than they're consuming, or if they're 50-50, you are going real deep down on this iceberg, and you are getting a lot of educational value out of Minecraft. All right, so the last game mode we're going to talk about here today is my personal favorite. Raise your hand, kids, if you play creative mode. Nice. Okay, so this is actually a map. I'll just take a quick aside. This is a map I made myself. It's called Darkwater. It's a huge city. It's proof that no project is ever done in Minecraft. I've been working on it for more than 6 years. So this is what's possible in creative mode. In creative mode, you'll notice you have no health, you have no hunger. You'll notice maybe that I'm flying in the air right now, and I have unlimited numbers of everything in the inventory. I can use as much as I want, okay? Now this mode is awesome. You can build some really cool stuff in creative mode, but there's a problem. Most parents I talk to, I ask them what they see their kid doing, and I get this answer a lot. He kind of flies around with a diamond sword and punches stuff. And I'm like, okay. And I see a lot of nodding in the audience here. So that is really kind of like a twist of creative mode. You're playing creative mode, so you can't die, and you can't be hurt, and you can fly around, you have every item in the game, but they're playing it like it's survival mode, and they're running around bashing stuff with a stick. Not educational, in my opinion, okay? If your kid is into creative mode, what you need to be doing is talking about, what kinds of things do you want to build? What are you going to do with it once it's built? It's not enough to just build the house. Is there a game that this house is somehow a part of? Or getting their wheels turning on kind of the things that they can do in creative mode. Really, the crux for me is in order for them to be diving down on the iceberg in creative mode, they really have to have a goal in mind, okay? So if kids are playing up here on top of the iceberg on creative mode, you're gonna see stuff like them running around bashing mobs with a diamond sword. You're gonna see them building houses out of rare materials. This is a big thing for me. Diamond houses are probably awesome, but not super practical. And after you get farther enough in building, you start to realize that there's really not that many kinds of gem class blocks that you can use. There's way more kinds of stone and wood and brick and metals. Those are the things I would focus on when you're building, not the diamond. Now, if that's the phase your kid's in, fine, right? But start asking them a question, what else could we build with? How could we make this look more realistic? Those kinds of things. You'll notice that when we dive down on the iceberg with a goal in mind on creative mode, it is the only thing that is going to activate every single thing I have here on this list, okay? It is the most From an educational potential perspective, it is the most educational thing they can be doing in Minecraft, just playing on creative mode. As long as they're diving down and they have a goal in mind. All right. So, I do get a lot of people who ask me questions like, how do I engage with Minecraft when I don't play it? As a parent, I don't want, nor do I have the time to pick up Minecraft for 30 hours, 60 hours, and learn how to play this game so that my kid and I can be in it together. Now, if you are the kind of parent that can do that, my hat goes off to you, okay? You're my hero. But for the rest of us who don't have that kind of time or can't fit it in, you can ask some really good questions to get the conversation going about Minecraft. So if they're talking about an adventure map that they just played, you can ask them, why was that adventure map challenging? Was there anything in that adventure map that was too hard for you? Or did you run into any blockers and then solve it? How did you do that? How did you overcome that challenge, right? Another good one I like is when your kid tells you that they're gonna start a new project, like, Daddy, I'm gonna build a new castle. Great. Why were you inspired to do that? What is it? Why do you want to build a castle now? That will start the conversation. If you had to do it over again, what would you change? Always a good question to ask when they're telling you about something that they've been working on. And my favorite question, and honestly the only one you really need, is what did you do when you played Minecraft today? That would be a dinner table conversation almost every night. All right. So at this point, we're going to move on to the questions segment. And if you have any questions, I'd encourage you to come and maybe sit in the front row because we don't have a mic for out there. But I can listen to the question. I'll just repeat it out to the whole group here. Does anybody have a question? Come on up. Maybe